Hi guys, I'm back again this week with a video that is going to interest everyone a lot. It's the most basic question everyone asks about the GGR. It's how much does it cost to participate in a race like the GGR? But first, if you're here for the first time, I'm Gaurav Shinde and I'm sailing the Golden Globe race, a solo non-stop round the world sailing race without any modern technology. I'm sailing it in my 1980 Bob Perry designed Bawa 35. So if you want to know more about me, please follow the channel and subscribe. Before we go into the cost of the GGR, today is my birthday. It's my 35th birthday and you can imagine I was very busy just celebrating my birthday, but it was also minus 25 degrees in Toronto, so we couldn't get a lot of work done on the boat. So I'm going to share a small snippets of the things I did get done this week on the boat, and then we'll talk about the cost of the GGR. There has been a slight change in plan. Last week I had said that I'm going to put the battery box in the place where the old stove was, but with this waterproof battery compartment that I got, which will house my two cells, is just a little big for that area. So it's going to change, the pans are going to change, and it's going to go into this area, which is the settee, and fit in right here. So this area completely is going to become storage above the tanks, and the batteries fit here. So they're still above the water line. They're still very secure because this battery compartment has screws or bolts I can put on all four sides, and so they'll secure the batteries down. And then there's a lid which goes on top, which is completely makes it waterproof. Important disclaimer: your cost for the GGR will depend on which part of the world you are in, what the availability of the materials that you need for the boat is, and then what kind of changes you really want to do on your boat. So for me, I'm in Canada, where parts are fairly easy to find, but some come across the border and then it costs a lot. At the same time, my boat came in very good condition, so I had to do very little to make it really race worthy, but then I made more changes to make it like a lean and mean racing machine. At the end, I want to say that all the costs I'm sharing are in Canadian dollars because they are easy for me to calculate, but at the end I'll give you a number in almost most of the important currencies in the world. To begin, I'm going to break down the cost into three categories. The first category is boat related expenses. It's the purchase of your boat, the refit of your boat, the sales, the hardware you need to buy, and then costs for just keeping the boat in the water till you start the race. The second category is going to be race related expenses, like your race fees, your sponsorship supplement, and your insurance charges. And the third and the last category is all your racing expenses. So it's all about your training, the communications that you have to purchase, also the food, which is very important for you on the race, your safety, and just miscellaneous fees that you will end up paying at various points in participating in the race. So let's jump into the first category, that is the boat expenses. For me, the purchase of the boat, I had to purchase the boat in Canada. There are very few designs which are approved for the Golden Globe race available in North America. The race rules are very simple. It has to be a 32 to 36 foot boat, a production boat, and a long keel boat. From that, there were very few designs in North America. There were the Cape Dories, there was the Babas, the Tashibas, and the West Sail. For me, I chose a Baba because that fit my budget, and I also loved the boat when I found it. but the cost for any of these designs can go between 10,000 to 100,000 Canadian dollars. So depending on the condition of the boat and the work you need to do, you have to find a boat between that. And these designs are fairly still popular in the East Coast and the West Coast of Canada and the US, so they're very hard to find. So some of them do come by, but they're not very easy to find. The West sails, however, are very easy to find, but they are considered as wet snails and probably slower than most of the designs we have in the Golden Globe race. For me, my Baba was in North America, and they were wonderful owners who had taken good care of the boat. The costs for me were reduced because they removed an electrical engine that was there in the boat and a lot of solar panels and batteries that they had, which they removed, and they were able to sell it off before selling the boat to me. But I had to also add a diesel engine to the boat. All those costs roughly cost me around $40,000. Then came the refit. The refit also depends on what you want to put in. I had to first deal with the teak deck. I removed the teak deck, changed the core, and sealed it up with fiberglass again. That cost me time and money. Then I changed all the port lights on the boat and kept only 4, and the rest were covered over with plexiglass. Then there are many things I've done. I've removed the entire bottom paint from the boat, and I'm putting brand new copper coat. Also, as you saw in my last video, I've removed the nice butterfly hatch that we have, the teak butterfly hatch we had on the boat. I removed my wheel steering and added a tiller steering. And then last is changing the mast. I'm getting a new mast. That costs a lot as well. And then changing the entire standing rigging and running rigging of the boat. So all those costs combined with adding new electronics cost me around $70,000. Then the next cost is the sails. Sails, again, a big variable cost. You could get sails for $15,000 from a budget manufacturer in the East, or you can get $50,000 for one of the best sail makers in the world. My budget is somewhere in the middle. It's going to cost me around $25,000 to get my entire array of sails that I'm going to carry for the race. Then you can imagine you have to park your boat in a marina, and that costs you around $10,000 over 2 or 3 years. The total for the boat related expenses for me comes up to $165,000 Canadian. So the second category is your race fees. So if you enter the race, you have to pay 14,000 Australian dollars, which is roughly the same as Canadian dollars. And then you have to pay another 14,000 Australian dollars for sponsorship supplement if you do have a sponsor. And then what you need for participating in a race like this and for yourself as well is an insurance. The insurance is very costly and it's very difficult to find. The best quote I have got till now is around $6,000. So the mix of all this brings my expenses up to 35,000 Canadian dollars. The third and the last category of the expenses is your race and training expenses. For the race, there are 2 important training courses you have to do. One is safety at sea and medical safety at sea. Those courses, depending on where you do it, the prices are different. In Canada, the mix of those courses is going to cost me around $4,000. Then there is a race safety pack and a satellite communication pack so that it can track us, which a mix of that plus medical pack costs around $7,000. We don't know the cost yet, but that's roughly what it is expected to cost. Then you have the most important expense, that's your food. For everyone, it'll be different. Some will carry cans, some will carry freeze-dried. I am in the freeze-dried camp, and I'm going to carry a lot of fluids, and lots of energy bars, etc. And then it's also about how you calculate how much of food you want to have. For me, I'm aiming to finish this race in less than 230 days. For that, I'm going to carry 230 days of food and then add a month of emergency rations. If at some point I know I'm going to be slow, I have to change and have to ration to make sure that I can finish the race. But the cost of all those rations for me is going to be around $20,000. And then there is the most important expense that you should have is an emergency expense for something that comes up at the wrong time. You break a mast, you get stuck, you have drop out of the race and get stuck in some random country in the world, or there are some expenses that come up before the race for the boat, and that amounts to around $25,000 more. So mix of all those, my rough estimate for race and training expenses is around $70,000. The grand total of all the expenses for me is going to be around approximately 270,000 Canadian dollars, which comes about to 210 US dollars. It's 190,000 euros, and then around 160,000 British pounds. Again, I need to stress on the fact that the costs are going to be different for different circumstances, for different people, different boats. So take it with a pinch of salt, and my expenses are not final yet. They might change at some point. So if you have any comments, or if you want to know more about something, add it to the comments and let me know what more you want to know from me. I hope this was very informative for you. If you're planning to do the GGR, or if you just want to know how much it costs for someone like me to do the GGR. So I hope you tune in next week for this, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. So it's goodbye from me for now.